two things going on here with both Steves. The one fraud is, well, he's doing exactly what I said that he would do. And it's to the point now where there's so many damn things said. I can try to go back and find them in all the videos. I probably still will. As I'm at work, I'll just listen to the old videos. But to the recorders, to those of you that record, and you're interested in like how these things are happening, you can go back yourself and find. It's probably within the last 20 videos. I don't know if it's important. If you don't believe, or it's like you kind of forgot. Steve will start making videos every day. I expect you to make videos every day, Steve, because you have to show us your way pre-planned early skit that you have going on with John. John's he's helping me. He's raking the leaves. He's shooting up churches. He's interviewing people. He's interviewing himself. He's interviewing the next John. Johnny's up. It's like, here's Johnny. And then mark these words. Ryan, okay? Whatever Ryan's surname is, look, whether it's Peter or James, the next fire bomb that ISIS will be claiming, Professor Plum or Professor Plums, it's going to be Professor Plums, right? Because Professor Plum, or is it Colonel Mustard? It's Colonel. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. Professor Plum, Johnny, he already used his revolver in the study, because that's where you study the Word of God at. And he brought his revolver there. So the next one's going to be Colonel Mustard's. It's going to be Colonel Mustard seeds that, well, they are going to firebomb a mosque. Where at is the mosque? Well, all right, here, let me say two things. I'm going to give a one or the other. It's definitely going to be Colonel Mustard seeds. Okay? Cry ISIS is going to take the responsibility. They are going to fire bomb one or two things. Either a mosque right here in America, or it's very close over to Mexico. Okay, I'm giving two options now. I went with three before, I'm going to go with two. Either a mosque or one of Donald Trump's buildings. Either way, whatever this firebomb is, martial law is coming right after it. And so when you have the bombing of one of Trump's buildings, or a fire, or an attempt to drop the building like 9/11, it's going to be the cause of the next big old bomb that May's going to drop, because May is dropping bombs. There's going to be bombshells of new stories that are out there that are stories and are new. So that's that on May 3rd, which is Friday. Yep. Guaranteed. Friday, May 3rd. Now, Steve James, the end's not yet, Robin, okay? Your date's gonna come and pass. Well, the 27th came and passed. It sure did. And that's pretty much exactly what happened on that date. So, next. And then the only reason why Steve would even say something like that is because he has the damn script. And he knows when it's going to be played out till the end. Now, he's pushing October. He didn't say 21st. But because his other employee, Steve Fletcher... It's funny, I just did the video of both of them yesterday, and then Fletcher comes up with a Harold Camping video, disgracefully putting his name next to his. Now, yeah, I get what you're trying to do. I understand. Talk about my boy Harold Camping. He's rolling over in his grave right now, and so I'm going to stick up for him. Because when you run his name, whatever you want to try to run it as, and match it in gematria, right, and it says that he's the Harpazo, and then now all of a sudden you're giving him credit for being right and true, a true prophet, Steve Fletcher. I knew it, and I said it too, and I'm going to find this one. I had a feeling, everybody, and for the people that care, if you heard this, I said, I'll show you a clip, but I had a feeling that people were going to come up towards the end, they're gonna bash Harold Camping all the way through, but then towards the end, they're going to finally give some credit to him, but they're going to try to steal my thunder. Now, I've been mentioning his name for 10 years now, sticking with the teachings. So here's one thing, Fletcher. You put your name next to his, it's a disgrace. Your numbers are 888 and his is 726 or something. That means Harpazo. And yours is the same as Jonathan Kleck, the other implanted agent. Well, one thing quick. All right, you put your name next to Harold Camping. You said that Christ was born. I mean, Christ died at the age of 33. All right. Now, if you and Harold Camping were like this, right, you would know that on this book here, which is Harold Camping's, by the way. All right, this book. Down on page 27 and the first verse there, considerable evidence in the Bible points to the fact that in all likelihood Jesus, who is the very essence of the Jubilee. Now remember, Harold Camping knew the season. He knew the year. He just didn't particularly, he wasn't dead set on a month and a date, right, at this moment here. But if you're connected to Harold Camping, you would be in agreement with this right here, that Christ was born October 2nd, 7 BC. October 2nd, 7 BC. Do the math. Was the day atonement on the sulfur, the ram's horn, right, of the Jubilee was to be sounded, thus both the Day of Atonement in the year 7 BC identified with the Jubilee. Remember, the Jubilee focused on the fact that the gospel was to be published to the entire world. This gospel right here, not yours. And Jesus came to earth to make all the arrangements so the gospel could be published throughout the world. Thus we see the remarkable link of the timing of the birth of Jesus, who was the very essence of the Jubilee, with the day and the year that were focused on the Jubilee. The next important juncture in God's salvation program was the day Jesus officially began his work as the Messiah. It was the day he was announced to the world as the Lamb of God who had come to take away the sins. As soon as I said take away the sins, that was a God drop, phone mic drop. According to our modern calendar, it was September 26 AD. According to the biblical calendar, it is the first day of the 7th month, is the date of the Feast of Jubilee, incorrectly called the Feast of Trumpets by theologians. We sure can see the beautiful similarities of the announcement of the official beginning of the ministry of Jesus, our Jubilee, with the Feast of Jubilee. Let me go on a little bit more here. Jesus as a sacrificial Lamb of God, literally suffered the penalty as demanded by the law of God before he created the world to be the glory. That's the other book he has. It had to be equivalent to the punishment that would have been given to those who came to save. As he had made the payment for their sins, this demonstration of the enormous punishment began on Thursday evening in the Garden of Gethsemane and continued until just before sundown on Friday. This awesome event occurred precisely at the same time that the Bible commanded that the Feast of Passover was to be observed. That Friday, according to the biblical calendar, was the 14th day of the first month. According to the modern calendar, it was April 1st, 33 AD. So, 33 AD, Christ, when he died, because he was born October 2nd, he was 39 and a half years old. Do the math. 39 and a half. If your name is so tight with Harold Camping's, show me this book, Steve. Either one of you clowns. Show me anything of his. So when you have the year 0, you have to subtract 1 because you can't, add 0. And so 7 BC, being crucified 33 AD, it's 39 and 1/2 years old, which means he was cut off halfway between, right? At 39 and a half years old. So when he's cut off halfway and there's a 7-year period, doesn't that mean that the next candidate that's going to rise up in the end should have started when he was right around 39 and a half years old to continue for 42 months till his 43rd birthday? All right, so all that this does for anybody who has thought Harold Camping, false prophet, said all those dates, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, well, when the elite suppress Harold Camping, and then towards the end here of, just not the end of the world as we know it, just the end of the world as we know it. It's not the end of life. It's not the end of the earth. It's not the end of anything. It's just the end of all of these liars. It's the end of them. So if anybody has had doubt about Harold Camping, just know that, as of yesterday, for you guys, not for me, just for you, when you know that Steve Fletcher is the Rapture King and he's a branch of Stephen James, one of his employees, then you know anybody that they mention from before when they talk trash about him is real. And then when they're talking about him now, like Harold Camping, putting his name together with Fletcher's with the 888, well, now you understand that they knew Harold Camping was a true prophet. They just know, just like you can tell yourself. It's not complicated. Just listen and watch and you'll see. And then confirmation for anybody else who has doubt is that Stephen James has his employee getting up making the video about him. Now first I'm going to show you something. This is Steve talking about the water that he's going to put in his basement, which is referring to each bottle of water is referring to each 144,000 that he plans on. That's why he's making all this room, because he plans on having a bunch of people there. It's not that people are really moving in. It's really a men's shelter or whatever. It's the roundup of the 144,000. But keep in mind, Steve, this is the part where none are going to come to your help, and you shall fall. Okay.
Well, they ran out of water. I had no choice but to turn the pump back on and fill all these bottles. I got a couple left there.
Hold on a second.
And fill all these bottles.
I was gonna try to put Bluetooth on, but it's connected to this phone.
A couple left there. And all.
So I hope this is the last time for water bottle refill, which means everybody, we're gonna run out of water soon. It's so strategically planned with that pit out front of his house, digging the bottomless pit. Wait until that I open up the hole. So Steve is mentioned in October, and the other fraud is mentioned in May 21st, which means, and they're talking about Harold Camping, the scorpions have already stung for those 5 months, and that was 7 years ago, back in 2011. You guys are playing us out too late, and I'm just telling you.
These are empty. That's what I'll do. I'll do these all at the same time. Take them all downstairs, put them in a big box, start carrying them downstairs. Sometimes I just throw them down the bottom of the stairs, but it makes a lot of mess in the basement.
Sometimes I just throw them downstairs and blood splatters in there and makes a big mess in the basement.
Or I pick them up later, so I just get them all together. Show you what I do. I get them all together. I come downstairs here.
See what I'm saying?
And then I stack them along this whole wall right here. Along this whole wall. I probably could, well, these are kind of small. Yeah, these are for canned goods. I got a ton of shelving here, like cabinets for canned goods. Yeah. But I fill them up.
Fill them up, chop them up, put them in cans. I got a bunch of freezer room. I store them away for freezer food for later on. You know, those delicious 144,000. Oh, man. Because they are the water of life. And we're going to bottle them up.
Fill them up in here, set them on here. I set all the empties up on here. And I fill them up in here. And then I set them right here. And I fill them all up. That way, I can just leave them down there. I don't have to carry them up a few at a time. When I need 3 or 4, I'll come down and grab 3 or 4. And then...
So when I need to talk to 3 or 4 of them and it's time for them to go and be chopped up, I'm just going to go down and grab 3 or 4. And once they're all chopped up, I'm going to bring them upstairs and put them in this freezer.
Because I get better water pressure from the pump at the lowest point in the basement, which is the laundry tub. So I fill them up in the laundry tub. And I leave them down there, and then I bring them up here. And then as I use them, I stack them on top of the refrigerator, and then I'll stack them over here. There, those are all empty. I've gone through all those. And then I'll come over, and when I want water, I boil it. I get it going to let it boil for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then let it cool down.
Show us that pit, Steve.
I fill up that jug right there for the refrigerator, and then I'll boil another water come up to the surface, and it fills up that hole. See, so I can't leave it on I gotta go to the lowest point of the house to run the water.
In other words, when we're down there in that hole and he puts the water in and it fills it up, we're going to drown as we're in his bottomless pit out front of his house.
Water, and I'll fill up the hot water tank, make sure the hot water tank's full, and I fill up all those water bottles. I have the hot water tank turned all the way down because I don't use no hot water hardly at all. None, actually.
That's cool. We're going to just drown but cold water. All right, so that's enough of that. And then the October thing. Let's see if this is it here.
That way I can rent out the apartment. And then we may not do this right away. It depends on how much funding we get up front. It depends. It depends on contractors, too, if I can get enough contractors in here to do what I need to get done before winter. So I figure we got till about October. I can have this all poured. If I can get this all poured by October, have this all poured.
October. October. It's the 8th day. So Steve is looking for the end to be October, but he knows that nothing's happening. It's just all the script that he has in front of him. So there's the October mention, and then here comes the other fraud. I'll let you listen to him. just confirming who Harold Camping really is. And I appreciate the video, Steve, both of yous. But I'm just not going to allow. I'm not going to allow Stephen Fletcher to put his name side by side with Harold Camping. It would just be. It's an abomination. It's a disgrace. So Harold Camping, mission, and then listen to the smug. It's like, all I'm going to do is use this for fuel. But because I made the video yesterday mocking the Rapture King and the other king of media, he sets his boy up. And it might be coincidental, okay, that he does this video, because you still have to study it, you got to record it. It's just I find it convenient that at the same exact time, well, the video was released. Let's just say that. It's released on the date that it's supposed to. So listen to this.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. Today's April 28th, 2019. And I want to share something with you that I don't think very many people know at all. A secret mystery. And it's all tied in with the 17th day of the second month.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
The day the great flood began in the time of Noah. As in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Here's what I wanted to share with you. Harold Camping, in English gematria, equals 726. Harold Camping,
Hear it?
in English gematria, equals 726. 726 is the number of the Harpazo. 726 is the number of the Harpazo. So Harold Camping's name is tied together with the number of the rapture. So this is no way a coincidence. Harold Camping was a man that God used to wake up a generation to the coming of Christ, to the imminency, the preparedness.
I thought that was Steve.
The day of the Lord, the
Stephen
day of
James.
judgment, the rapture of the church. Harold Camping, 726.
Okay, so I do appreciate that he's given Harold the credit that he deserves now, because I've said it all along, not just towards not towards the end after stealing everybody else's information. I've said it all along that the rapture of the church, the 144,000, began October 21st, between May 21st and October 21st, 2011. It was the triggering of the awakening. It wasn't Stephen James who's claiming that he was the one that triggered the awakening in 2011, starting his book of Gematria. And then, oh, there's a commercial on YouTube also. I forget what the name of it is. I sent a link, tried to send a link to Justin, just the front page of it, but it's a commercial about Gematria. It doesn't say the name, but it says, if you want to know everything about yourself in a numerical code, give us all your information and we'll tell you what you are. Oh my God, it's so funny how Stephen is just, you're just busted with everything. And because I know, that's really all that matters right now at this moment. So all the other shenanigans that you're trying to play, your time is coming to an end. Your time is short for the sake of the elect.
Harpazo, to seize, catch up, snatch away. This is the same verse, the same word that is used in Revelation 12:5 when it says her child was caught up to God. It's the Harpazo. There There are 14 occurrences of this.
Which child was that 7 years
and
ago?
You can study
Huh?
this. This is in 1 Thessalonians 4 when it says we're caught up to God. Okay?
No, it's not a child being born from its mother's womb literally 7 years ago. It's a child being nourished for the next 1,260 days until it's time for him to continue for 42 months.
Dead in Christ will rise first. Those of us who remain will be caught up to God. It's the same word. Used 14 times. You can study this. But Harold Camping is connected to the rapture because his name is simultaneous with rapture. If anyone was going to tell you who Harold Camping is, or if you ask anybody today, who is Harold Camping, he's the guy who predicted the rapture. Okay,
Yep.
so his name is simultaneous, or it's it's a synonym of what we understand as the rapture.
The
Harold
rapture.
Camping, the rapture.
Harold Camping, yeah. Yep.
726 Harpazo.
Here's where he gets out of control. Well, no,
And his name is also synonymous with May 21st, 2011, Judgment Day. Everyone knows Harold Camping predicted the end of the world.
See, I can joke about it, I can laugh about it, because when you know the truth and you know who people are and you know why they do the things that they do way the frick ahead of time, now everything is falling into place. And I can't help it, but it's everything that I've said over these past 2 years. Now it's all lining up perfectly. This goof is supposed to come up and tell you, because it's what Stephen James has these scripts and he is writing them out. You think it's a coincidence that John is coming to help him, and then every interviewer that you listen to about the shooting over there in San Diego in Powwow, that they're going to cut our powwow, that they're all named John, and then back to you, John, and then the shooter's name is John, whatever the hell his last name is. So just know that Peter, whatever Ron's surname is going to be the next name mentioned.
May 21st, 2011. What they didn't know is that his name in itself, his name means rapture. His name means Harpazo. Now I want to share with you the meaning of the name Steve Fletcher.
This is where...
In English gematria, Steve Fletcher.
Oh, Steve Fletcher, look, man, you got some repenting to do. You and the other Steve. It's not even your real name, but it's like the first 4 minutes, okay, I'm like, well, the first 3 minutes and 55 seconds, I'm like, all right, I'll give it to you. I know there's a punchline somewhere, so let me just continue listening. And then he has the